Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle two words you hear all the time, but what do they really mean? Creativity and innovation. We're going to show you that anyone, and I mean anyone, can learn to come up with and launch big ideas. So let's dive right in. First things first, a quick question for you, and I want you to be totally honest with yourself. Do you think you're a creative person? You know, a lot of us kind of hesitate or maybe just say, nah, not really. If that's you, you're going to want to stick around because we are about to challenge that idea. Because here is the single most important idea we're talking about today. It's not some kind of magic lightning strike that only hits a chosen few. The truth is, creativity exists in every single one of us. It's a skill, a muscle, something you can develop and sharpen, just like anything else. So let's start right there with that little creative spark that's already inside you. We're not trying to create something out of thin air here. We're just learning how to find that spark and fan it into a flame. You see, research shows that creativity isn't just for artists or tech geniuses, and it has pretty much nothing to do with your IQ. What really matters? Training, being willing to try things and mess up, and having a space where new ideas aren't shot down. That means you, yes you, have the power to become more creative, starting today. Okay, before we go any further, we need to make sure we're all using the same map. People throw words like creativity, invention, and innovation around like they're all the same thing. They're not, and getting the definitions right is absolutely crucial. First up, creativity. Think of this as ground zero. It's that mental process, that little flash of insight where you connect a couple of unrelated things to come up with a brand new idea. This is the very first step, and it all happens right up here, in your mind. Next on the map, we have invention. This is where creativity starts to get real, tangible. An invention is a specific, new solution that you can actually make or produce. The idea of electric light, that was creativity. The first working light bulb that someone could actually build, that was the invention. And that brings us to the final landmark, and honestly, the most important one, innovation. This is the whole process of taking that idea or that invention and turning it into something people actually want and use, something that creates real value in the world. Just remember this. An amazing invention sitting on a shelf collecting dust is not an innovation. Let me break it down like this. An invention might be a brand new, super efficient solar panel. That's a brilliant thing, right? A huge breakthrough. But innovation, that's applying that invention. It's using those new panels to create affordable street lamps that bring light and safety to a community that didn't have it before. See the difference? Innovation is invention made useful. Okay, so we have our map. Now we need some tools. It turns out that highly creative people consistently show 5 key traits. Think of these as the mental muscles you can train to seriously boost your own creative power. So here are the 5 superpowers. It starts with fluency. That's just generating tons of ideas, good, bad, whatever. Then comes flexibility, the ability to look at those ideas from totally different angles. That leads to problem sensitivity. You start spotting issues nobody else even notices. And from there, you get originality, where you craft a solution that is truly new. But none of it matters without focus, that grit to stick with it when things get tough. Let's make this real. Take flexibility. Rigid thinking sees a coffee cup and just thinks, drink. End of story. But a flexible thinker, whoa. They see way more possibilities. It's a tiny flower pot. It's a pencil holder. It's a mold for a sandcastle at the beach. That one simple shift in perspective just unlocks a wave of brand new ideas. So, you're working on those traits, you've got the tools. But how do you actually apply them? Well, you need a process. Luckily, there's a well-defined 5-step path you can follow that really works. It takes you from that first little spark all the way to a finished project. This 5-step path is your roadmap. You start with preparation, just soaking up knowledge, learning everything you can. Then you narrow your focus with investigation, gathering all the info on one specific problem. Step 3 is transformation. That's where your brain starts connecting the dots in new ways. But does the idea actually work? That's step 4, testing, where you build a prototype. And once you've proven it, you move to the final step, application, turning your project into a real-world reality. All right, theory's great and all, but let's see how this comes together in the real world. This is where we get to see the incredible reward for combining those creative traits with a solid process.
First, just remember that innovation isn't always about a shiny new gadget. Sure, it can be a new product, but it can also be a new service, like your banking app, or a new process, like how Amazon uses robots in its warehouses, or, and this is a really powerful one, a completely new way of doing business. Which brings us to a fantastic story.
Let's talk about Ben & Jerry's. The whole thing started in 1978. Two buddies, a $5 correspondence course on making ice cream. Seriously, $5. They were creative for sure, but their innovation was where the genius was. By 1987, they were doing $32 million a year in sales. A year later, they're named U.S. Small Business of the Year. And then, in 2000, they were bought out for $326 million. Let that sink in. From a $5 course to a company worth over $300 million. That is the power of innovation. So what was the secret sauce? Was it just about inventing Cherry Garcia? Well, the ice cream was great, but that wasn't the whole story. The real breakthrough was a business model innovation. They built a brand with a quirky personality. They created a community with things like Free Cone Day. And they totally changed how people thought about and bought ice cream. And that brings us right back to you. You now know that creativity is a skill you can build. You have the map, so you can tell the difference between a simple idea and a true innovation. You've got the tools, those 5 creative traits, and you've got the 5-step process to guide your way. The only question left is, what journey are you going to start?